Ever wondered how the United States became the first country to develop an atomic bomb during World War II? The Manhattan Project was especially instrumental towards the accomplishment of this historic feat. And in today's video on WarZone, we've detailed all there is to know about this trailblazing project. So, keep up. The Manhattan Project was the code name for America's first atomic bomb creation project during the Second World War. The project was originally launched by the US in response to fears that Hitler had employed scientists to work on a weapon capable of mass destruction using nuclear energy. So, in 1939, after US operatives confirmed this claim, the United States President Franklin Roosevelt immediately put together a team of experts who'd go on to become the leading brains behind this historic project. Roosevelt first created the Advisory Committees on Uranium, which was a team of scientists and military officials responsible for researching the potential of uranium as a nuclear weapon. The Advisory Committee's name was changed in 1940 to the National Defense Research Committee, before finally being renamed the Office of Scientific Research and Development, or OSRD, in 1941. In the same year, the United States officially announced its entry into the war, following the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. The United States quickly formed an alliance with Britain, France, and Russia to fight against the Germans in Europe and the Japanese along the Pacific. In 1942, the project became a full-blown military initiative, and scientists took supporting roles along with military personnel. With the President's approval, the Army Corps of Engineers joined the OSRD in the same year. Before the end of 1942, the OSRD formed what was known as the Manhattan Engineer District in New York, and a US Army colonel named Leslie R. Groves was appointed as the project's leader. The Manhattan Engineer District consisted of exceptional scientists who were solely engaged in extensive nuclear research, particularly about chain reactions, as well as the production of microscopic samples of plutonium. By December 1942, the United States President officially authorized the formation of the Manhattan Project, with the sole objective of weaponizing nuclear energy. Various facilities were set up across different sites in New Mexico, Tennessee, Washington, and even Canada for research and atomic testing. In 1943, theoretical physicist Robert Oppenheimer was named director of the Los Alamos Laboratory in northern New Mexico, after working on the concept of nuclear fission along with other prominent scientists like Edward Teller. By January 1943, the construction of a modern nuclear laboratory was established, where the first Manhattan Project nuclear bombs were built and tested. The scientists that were working under Oppenheimer's supervision had already developed two distinct types of bombs. The first type was a uranium-based design called the Little Boy, and a plutonium-based type called the Fat Man. Both designs became instrumental in bringing an end to the war. By 1945, the Germans had begun sustaining heavy losses in the war and were close to being defeated. But a strong conviction remained that the Japanese would fight to the end, especially after their defiant use of suicide pilots. Fully aware that detonating any of its newly created nuclear bombs in any part of the world would result in high casualties and cause significant infrastructure damage, the United States decided to proceed with its detonation plan regardless. So, on July 16, 1945, in a remote desert close to Alamogordo, New Mexico, the Trinity test was conducted. The test involved the detonation of the first atomic bomb, which created an enormous mushroom cloud that measured up to 400,000 feet in the sky. In a final effort to avert the use of nuclear weapons, the United States on July 26, 1945, delivered an ultimatum to Japan at the Potsdam Conference to surrender under the terms stipulated during the Potsdam Declaration. But the Japanese emperor remained adamant, and on August 6, 1945, the Enola Gay bomber plane dropped the untested Little Boy bomb above Hiroshima, causing a wave of destruction and death over an estimated area of 5 square miles. 3 days later, with still no surrender from Japan, the US dropped Fat Man over Nagasaki, destroying more than 3 square miles of the city. Both bombs killed over 100,000 people and completely destroyed the two cities. Finally, on August 14, 1945, Japan formally surrendered. After the end of the war, the United States created the Atomic Energy Commission, or AEC, to oversee research efforts developed under the Manhattan Project and how they can be applied to other fields. Thus, the nuclear fission technology that was primarily discovered and perfected by the Manhattan Project has since become the new basis for the invention of nuclear reactors, power generators, and medical imaging systems that are being used to provide solutions and improve human lives.